We're at Gamescom 2016, catching up with Blizzard, as we tend to do every year. It's nice to see familiar faces. And Heroes of the Storm is one of those games that constantly gets built upon, constantly gets expanded and updated. And here we're here to talk about Machines of War, the next sort of big push that you're bringing out. For those unfamiliar, what would you say it brings to the fray?
So we're always bringing new content into Heroes. Every 3 to 4 weeks, we're bringing new heroes into the game. Every week we do balance patches. Every 6 weeks we have major patches with features and content. But Machines of War is really special because we're bringing the world of Starcraft into the Nexus for the first time. So this is 2 new battlegrounds, 2 new heroes. There are a number of theme skins that are kind of themed to the Starcraft universe. So it'll all be coming in. This is kind of akin to what we did last year. We had something called the Eternal Conflict, which is where we brought the world of Diablo in. That was something with 2 battlegrounds and a number of heroes. That took place over about a 3-month time span. We had fun with that. We liked it a lot. Our experience and the feedback we got was like, that's a lot of Diablo for a very long time. So this game's really about variety. It's about all this new stuff all the time. So we've tightened this a lot more. Like, this is going to be much tighter, closer together. You'll get the 2 battlegrounds and the heroes in kind of rapid succession. So I think it'll be something that people really enjoy. And we've had so many requests to bring the Starcraft world in. And our team made Starcraft 2. We actually made Warcraft 3 and the original Starcraft. So we have a lot of passion for Starcraft as well. So I think you can kind of see in the details coming into these battlegrounds. You know, it's all new minions, mercenaries, structures, bosses. Like, there's 2 completely different tile sets too, 2 distinct tile sets that are coming into it.
Interesting. What can you tell us of the battlegrounds? How did they? Because you always like to mix things up with new battlegrounds. It's never sort of the same kind of progression.
Definitely. We really use battlegrounds as an opportunity to create entirely new gameplay experiences. Battlegrounds are also a really powerful tool to kind of dictate strategy and balance. Like, there are heroes that are really viable on certain battlegrounds, and they might not be always viable on others, but we like that. We like that we might create an opportunity for a hero like Gazlo or Zagara to suddenly be really meaningful and impactful. So these ones, there's 2 of them. The first one is called Braxus Hold Out. And the idea of this one for us was really about kind of capturing the idea of a Zerg rush. And the way this battleground works is it's a 2-lane battleground. It's relatively small, but there are beacons that spawn in the middle of the map periodically, and your teams have to go capture the beacon. It's just like a command point they have to capture and hold on to. As you hold the beacons, you actually have to hold both of them. There are these big pens on top lane, bottom lane, and they actually alternate each cycle, each time the objective goes. But as you hold them, it fills those pens up with Zerg. So Banelings, Zerglings, Hydralisks, Ultralisks, Guardians are all filling in there. So the more you hold those points, the more Zerg you'll have in your pen. When either side reaches 100%, it's going to open the pens and send those Zerg down the lane that they're in. And they're basically, it is like a Zerg rush. So if you were able to capture the beacons for a long time, you're going to send a huge onslaught of Zerg. Your team can then decide, do we push with those Zerg? Do we go to the other lane and split push? Like, a lot of choices being made there. A lot of decisions about, do they have really good wave clear? Are they going to be able to deal with this? You know, a lot of coordination going to take place there. So really capture the idea of Zerg rush. And then, that cycle continues. A lot of fun, a lot of units that you haven't seen before. Like I said, new bosses that are in there. Really cool experience on that one. The second one is called Warhead Junction. This is a 3-lane battleground. It's actually the largest battleground we've ever made for heroes. So very spread out, a lot of land to cover. The idea about this one, the fantasy was really about being a ghost in StarCraft, and specifically nuking stuff as a ghost. It's something that we always have a lot of fun with. And so with this, warheads will spawn on the map periodically. So between 2 and 4 warheads will spawn. Everyone kind of scatters at that point to go capture the warhead. So you might have a little fight over a warhead. You might luck out and go to one that no one else went to. You capture the warhead. It gives you a nuke, which is actually an activated ability on your command card. So the first time we've done this, usually our map mechanics will do things like put you in a vehicle or alter, like a curse on Curse Hollow will alter the tower states and make it so they can't attack. This is the first time we've given each hero like a new ability. And so then once you get it, your team can basically coordinate. If you get multiple nukes, you can go together and do like a mega nuke and like nuke multiple times. You can split up and each of you take down your lanes. Nukes do massive damage to structures. They do percentage damage to heroes. So very meaningful, like tide turning types of abilities that you're going to get. Of course, the danger with nukes is if you're carrying it around and you get attacked and you die, you're going to drop it and the enemy team will get it. So you got to be smart about using it. You got to not leave yourself out in the open. Don't get ganked with your nuke or you're going to get a really bad turnaround on you.
That is an interesting sort of dynamic there. If you spread out and try and get all of them, you're going to be vulnerable to getting killed and dropping it. So one tactic to counter someone who's spreading out would be to sort of stick together and then just pick everyone off as they try to coordinate a mega attack.
Definitely. I think it will be really cool to see the different strategies that come out of this, because there's a lot of options that come into play depending on whether there's 2 to 4 nukes and how you're gonna deal with it. But again, the battleground's really big, so.
Is that randomized, like the number of nukes?
Yeah, I don't remember the specific cycle of how it does it right now, but I think it is going to be random. Like, I don't know that it's predictive right now that you'd be able to know how many there'd be. You'll know when they're going to spawn, like our other objectives, where you'll kind of have an idea of here's the time window, but then you'll be like, okay, what is it? Where do we go?
I mean, it would be interesting either way, really, if you knew the number or if you don't. Both alternatives are interesting.
And we've played with a lot of different options on the battleground, so I think you see us keep trying that stuff. And we went through different iterations with these maps too, so it may be that when we finally see it come out, and it's going to PTR on August 29th, and it'll come out in the game live on September 13th. So it's all coming really fast here, but it'd be really cool to see how it shakes out.
We've been talking a lot about battlegrounds, but the new heroes are also interesting. You're having the StarCraft theme, but it's also sneaking something else in there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the heroes that you're bringing in?
Sure. So the first hero coming in is going to be Alaric, which is another fan favorite, something that he's a Protoss. He's like kind of the high Templar of the Tal'Darim part of the Protoss. He's kind of a sarcastic bully. That's really his role in Legacy of the Void. So a lot of people saw him there. He has an amazing voice actor, really cool personality. But he's a melee assassin. He's coming into Heroes, and he's bringing over his personality as well as his kit. So he's really a manipulative bully. He's got abilities that actually kind of move people around the battlefield. So one of his abilities is actually our first vector target ability, where you pick a point and then you drag, and you kind of have an arrow where you can directionally. You can basically pick a point to move people to. So you hit an enemy, you can push them, pull them around as much as you want. Same thing with you can actually do it to yourself. So you can move Alaric around as well with this ability. His Q has a silence, so like one of his default abilities will actually silence enemies, which is super powerful in our game.
Also feels like a player then that someone who's really good at teamwork and coordinating with his teammates can do tremendous amount of use with that character.
Definitely. He can set up major plays by being able to move people around and silence them. Like he just has some very unique abilities that will set things up very nicely. His heroic abilities, he has one where it's actually a channeled ability where he charges up, and the longer you charge, the more distance you'll get on this charge where he'll send out and do massive damage in a big line. His other ability is one where he kind of goes into stasis for a second, and as he takes damage, if he takes damage during that state, he'll send out a wave of major damage straight out ahead of him. So yeah, he's very much a playmaker and someone who really changes the course of the battle. And then the second hero is not a StarCraft hero. It is actually Zaria from Overwatch. And so we thought we wanted to mix it up a little, but we also thought that she fit in really nicely with this sci-fi theme. Like, it's really cool to bring the sci-fi worlds into Heroes. It's the first time we've done it. It's really unique in the genre as well. So she comes in. She's our second ranged warrior. The first one was Rexar. So it's kind of a unique role for us because we haven't done this very many times. She is really a very strong tank. She also has really good shielding abilities. She can shield herself as well as her allies. And her kit's really focused around. She's also like a playmaker. Her heroics. So she actually has 2 heroics. We did Tracer and she only got 1, but Zaria has 2 heroics. Her first one is straight out of Overwatch. We call it Graviton Surge in our game. And it's where it brings everyone together, the same as her heroic that you have today in Overwatch. Her second heroic is actually one where she creates a repulsion field where it creates a spot and it pushes everyone out of it, and then it remains for a little while and it prevents them from moving. So she can zone out areas. Her kit is very much carried over straight from Overwatch, though. So if you're familiar with her in Overwatch, most of her abilities like straight on carry, which is great. Really fun to bring them over like that. I think Overwatch players will be really comfortable and familiar with her, but now she's in Heroes.
It is interesting. And you mentioned before we started talking that it's because you play so much Overwatch, and perhaps Zaria in particular, is she a favorite, or?
We like Zaria. I think when we look for heroes, we're trying to find something that fills a role that we want in the game. So she was a good choice for us now. I think if you look at the stable of heroes in Overwatch, there's amazing characters. We're all super excited to get them in. Everybody has their favorites. I think in time we were going to get them in because we really like bringing those characters into the game. They're fantastic.
Yeah, and they also, like you said, like her abilities fit so well into it, and I could see a lot of the other characters and their abilities also fit very well into Heroes of the Storm.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it. I want my Winston in there, you know. I want my Farah in there. There's a lot of opportunities there to bring really cool, unique heroes into the game. And if you look at their abilities, you can see how they would really meld nicely with Heroes of the Storm as well.
I guess the only thing that sort of you need to sort of pace yourself. Well, you don't need to pace yourself because there's so much to bring in. But at the same time, it's like it's about timing. When is the right time to bring a certain character in? And are you listening a lot to fans, or do you sort of try and keep sort of the gameplay first, sort of what you need in terms of the gameplay?
Yeah, we definitely are focused on trying to do things that's right for the game. This is a game about choices. You know, we're trying to give you choices with your heroes, choices with your composition on the battleground versus your enemy's composition. The talent system is all about choice, like individual talents for your heroes to kind of kit them away you want to play for that particular game. When we look ahead at future heroes, it's about what's a role that we don't currently have in the game? Where's a void that we want to fill? It's about finding complementary heroes to existing heroes or heroes that are a counter to existing heroes. It's trying to create these situations where there's strategy and that a new hero is going to kind of disrupt things and create opportunities for players that don't exist today. So we're balancing all those things out. We hear internally and externally, a lot of people have their wish list of what they want to get in there. And I think you've seen a lot of those things come in. Like Alaric is one that from the moment people played him in Starcraft 2, Legacy of the Void, they wanted him in Heroes, and we had the same thing. Like, they just loved his personality. We tried to, like I said, embody that in his kit. So we translated that over, so it's like, hey, your kit's exactly like you, man. Like, that's who you are. So yeah, I think we'll keep bringing that stuff in and balancing that out. If there's like a huge group of people that are calling for something, we look at it and we see that it fits, that's definitely something we're going to do. Like, we did that last year with the Lost Vikings, one that we were hearing over and over again that we really wanted it in. And we're like, well, all right, well, we wanted to do like a crazy hero that you control 3 different heroes separately. Let's do it.
Yeah, interesting. To wrap it up, one final question, because you've been working on Heroes of the Storm for a while now, for many years, and it's a project that I guess all Blizzard projects are sort of like this, that they're longer than your normal sort of video game cycle. But what's this particular sort of journey been like with Heroes of the Storm?
It's been totally different. So I've been at Blizzard for 15 years now, worked on a bunch of games. We're a company that's built on making boxed games. So for me, it was StarCraft 2. I worked on StarCraft 2 for 8 years before I joined the Heroes team. And we're used to just going and working on a game and spending a couple years on it and shipping it and then being kind of done and then maybe doing an expansion. That was our life. And now Heroes is a constant content game, right? We're always making new stuff. Like I said, we balance patches every week, new heroes every 3 to 4 weeks, major patches every 6 weeks. It's this like relentless onslaught of like cool stuff. So on one hand, it's like, oh my gosh, how are we going to make all this stuff? On the other side though, it's this exciting opportunity to create content and get it in players' hands quickly and then react to that too. Like, we're always evolving, we're always have opportunities to make the game better. So if we do something and it's awesome out the gate, fantastic. If we get feedback, we need to make it better. We have a limitless opportunity to do that. So I think it's energizing as a team to be able to make content that the feedback loop is that tight on it. We can get it in their hands, keep making cool stuff and make it better all the time. It's been a huge learning process for us. I think we're finally getting good at it now, and so much good stuff's coming in the game, starting with Machines of War here, but like there's really cool stuff for the rest of the year coming up too. We're not talking about it now, but man, we have so much good stuff in the works for this game.
And yes, to iterate, when's Machines of War coming out?
It'll be in PTR on August 29th, and it goes live on September 13th.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.